Welcome to this video abstract for the introduction to the Review of International Studies 50th Anniversary Special Issue. My name is Martin Coward, and I was lead editor of Review of International Studies until December 2023, and I led the editorial team that commissioned this special issue.
Hi, and I'm Matthew Paterson. I was an editor of the Review of International Studies until December 2023, and I led the editorial review process for the 50th Anniversary special issue.
This special issue celebrates the 50th anniversary of Review of International Studies. Since 1975, the review has published over 200 issues and over 1,300 articles, and the journal has played a key role in shaping the discipline of international relations, leading or critically intervening in key debates.
To celebrate 50 years of the review, we've curated a special issue examining the challenges facing global politics for the next 50 years as both a discipline and as a set of empirical problems. In this video, we'll summarize our introduction and give you a flavor of what you can expect in the special issue.
In 2022, we issued an open call for articles addressing the theme of global politics the next 50 years. IR has regularly turned its attention backwards towards its historical origins. Instead, rather than revisit the past, as might have been expected of a 50th anniversary issue, we wanted to look to the future. And thinking about the future can take many forms. In the disciplinary space of the study of global politics, at least 4 key strands of thought can be identified. So firstly, we have the positivist, realist tradition in international relations thought, which was underpinned by a future-oriented predictive ambition. Secondly, we have the historical counterpart to the predictive ambitions of realism, which take the form of planning, forecasting, and scenario building, particularly in the Cold War. Thirdly, a broadly utopian tradition that can be found in a wide range of political discourses, not just fictional utopias alone, and it comprises an animating dream of an ideal political future. And fourth, the tradition of prefigurative thinking in activist politics. For political activists, the idea of prefigurative politics has been a way to act in the present in order to realize, albeit partially, perhaps imperfectly, political ideals that are conceivable and yet to come. And from these traditions, we learn that thinking about the future is always thinking about the present, and that thinking about the future helps us to diagnose the present and decenter how we typically understand it, as well as to inspire action in the present oriented towards changing the future. The articles gathered here thus speculate on the future of global politics in a way that is revealing and critical of the state of the present of global politics.
So from these articles in the collection, we've identified at least 4 common themes that we'll outline briefly. First, how do we think about the future at all? Halvard Leira and Oliver Kessler argue for the importance of doing this via thinking about the history of how concepts change over time. But the conceptual development always comes from somewhere. And Louisa Benfeld, Emily Clifford, and Hannah Richards engage this question of positionality directly, insisting on the necessity of reflexivity about one's own positionality in how any scholar engages in theorizing about the future. Second, how do we think about the imperial pasts and the ongoing questions of colonization and racialization in the present? Many of our contributors build on this vibrant current debate to focus on how it will continue to shape the next 50 years of global politics. These discussions appear most notably in Andrew Rosenberg's article on race and racialization, Fiona Adamson and N.J. Hand's article on changing forms of diasporic politics, Claudia Aradow's on the legacy of post-socialism, and Simel Burak-Tansel and Lisa Tilley's article on the struggles over recurrent and intensifying socio-ecological struggles. Third, how will technological change mediate and generate geopolitical change? This crops up in many articles, but it's most prominent in Tony Erskine's article, discussion of whether AI can be considered to have moral agency, and Mark Lacey's arguments concerning the future of warfare, where digital technologies both function as weapons themselves and turn all objects they interact with into potential weapons. And finally, how are socio-ecological crises, and particular climate change, increasingly shaping how we think about the future of global politics? Climate change in global politics has moved beyond the preserver specialists like me to have a much broader purchase. Again, this appears in many articles here, but it's most central to those by Kostas Konstantinou and Eleni Christodoulou, which is focused on how it generates a need for dramatic shifts in diplomatic theory and practice. By Tansel and Tilley's arguments centered on socio-ecological struggles to create alternative worlds, and by Enrique van Wingerden and Darshan Vigneswaran's calls to think about global politics beyond what they call the terrestrial trap. Overall, these provide us with a diverse, stimulating and thought-provoking set of essays about the future of global politics, again, both as a discipline, but also as a set of empirical phenomena. They won't answer all the questions we might have about the future, but we hope you think they're at least asking good questions.